to you by Puffin.
Aldrin Adams and the Legend of Nemeswiss, written and read by me, Paul Howard. To Quishla and Lux. Chapter 1. Night of Terror. The sky above her head was fiery red, and it roared with the sound of approaching thunder. Little Esther Akobe from Duxbury Drive wiped the sweat from her forehead and stared at her feet. She had to focus now. Slowly, and with great caution, she placed her foot on the wooden plank in front of her. It gave way and fell from the rope bridge into the bubbling, hot lava below. For one awful moment, she thought that she, too, might fall down into the belly of the volcano. But she grabbed the rope handrail and held on for all she was worth. And that was when she heard it, the terrifying beating of wings. Valdor the Remorseless had released his giant raptor birds to bring her back to the Castle of Dread. There was no time for caution now. She had to reach the other side of the volcano. She started to run along the wooden planks, but in her haste, she tripped. Behind her, she heard a sudden gust of wind, like the crack of a whip. She looked over her shoulder as one of Valdor's enormous, eagle-like birds swooped down and tried to pick her up with its blade-like talons. Esther screamed, "Ah!" The bird narrowly missed her, snagging one of its talons on the rope bridge, which swayed violently from side to side. Esther stood up again. She looked up. She counted 6 giant raptor birds circling overhead. She took 3 more hurried steps, then she stopped. One of the birds was now hovering just above her. It was enormous, as big as a 2-story house, and its wings were so wide that the very act of flapping them blew back Esther's hair. The bird stared hard at her with its dark, unblinking eyes. Then it let loose a loud and blood-curdling squawk. Wah! Esther screamed again. No! The bird opened its hooked beak, filled its lungs with air, then breathed a jet of fire directly at Esther. She jumped to the side, narrowly missing the flames, which now torched the bridge behind her. And suddenly, in that moment, the entire thing snapped. Again, Esther screamed, "Ah!" as she held on to what remained of the bridge and found herself swinging through the air on the rope. A second later, she was slammed against the inside wall of the volcano. Splat! When she got over the initial shock, she discovered that she was still holding onto the rope and dangling just 60 feet above the seething red lava below. She took a deep breath. With all the strength she could summon, she began to slowly pull herself up the rope towards the lip of the volcano. It took a huge effort, but she had just enough strength left to reach the top. She scrambled down the rocky slope of the volcano and took refuge behind a giant boulder to consider her next move. She sat there for a moment, hugging her knees and listening to the terrifying wing beats of the giant birds circling overhead. And that was when something very unexpected happened. She started to get the feeling that she wasn't alone. Slowly, she turned her head, and there, sitting next to her, behind the boulder, was a boy. He was about 12 years old, short and slightly chubby, with a friendly face, 2 front teeth that stuck out prominently, and a head of wavy, russet hair. Like Esther, he was dressed in pajamas, except where hers had rainbows and unicorns, his were covered in yellow wedges of cheese. "All right, Esther?" the boy said in a calm voice. "All right," she repeated confusedly. "No, I..."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?